Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Loving Sairam, Dr. Sai Giridhar Tumsi, the
Sai
Sri
Ram,
Sat
Sai Ram.
the Sri Satya Sai Global Council Trinidad and Tobago lovingly welcomes you to our series Awake, Unite and Inspire. We are extremely blessed, happy, and fortunate to have you as our guest on this evening's program. So, Dr. Giridhar, can you share with us how did you first come into contact with our beloved Mother Sai?
Sai Ram, brother and sisters around the globe and Trinidad and Tobago. My humble pranams to the Swami for giving me this opportunity to speak to you guys. And as I begin this journey, speaking about this, it's a wonderful experience. It's a miraculous experience, I would say. This journey started about 46 years back when I was a 10 days old baby. And my mother and my aunt were very big devotees of Swami. And it so happened they used to go visit Puttaparthi and Whitefields quite often. And in 1975, when I was a 10 days old baby, Swami had taken, he had come to Puttaparthi, was there in Puttaparthi visiting. And around that time, my mother was also there with me as a small baby. Took myself to the Swami's place, and he was there. And my mother was like attending a bhajan there, and it so happened the bhajan was about Hey Giridhar Gopala. That was a song which was being sung there. And my mother was in rapture, and she was very much happy to hear that word Giridhar. And her heart was thronging to have that name given to me by Swami. That was her intent. That mind was telling and heart was telling that probably Swami could name me that name. It would be so nice. So she took a chance, and she took me as a small baby, 10 days old, towards Swami. And she asked Swami, can you give him a name? And Swami was very lovingly, as usual, he asked, what is he? She said, he's a boy. She said, Swami, if you can name him, it'll be great. So Swami says, name him Sai Giridhar. Swami, and she doesn't listen properly, and she goes back and again asks, can you tell me one more time, Swami? Sai Giridhar. Sai Giridhar in Petandi. So she says, put the name, tell her, give this name, Sai Giridhar, this as the name to this boy. And she's absolutely shocked and happy, and whatever the emotions were, very mixed. Because the few hours back, she was thinking about this name and listening to this bhajan at Prasanthi Nilayam. And all of a sudden, Swami tells the same name. So she says, whoa, this is something which it's only Swami can relate. We can relate only when we are so close to Swami, but we think Swami doesn't know anything. Swami knows everything. He hears whatever you're thinking. And he was telling the same name. He said, Sai Giridhar. Then Swami says this, and my mom is in very happy mood, and she tells my aunt, this is what happened, and they were all very thrilled. So that's where the real journey started, Sairam. So,
Brother, that was really, really very enthralling and divine. At 10 days old, hearing this beautiful bhajan and your mother asking Swami to name you. Very, very beautiful indeed. So, share with us the very first time that you laid eyes on the physical form of Swami. What was that feeling like?
let me tell you, this is about in the 6th or 7th grade. My mom used to take me to summer holidays to Bangalore. to visit sometimes my aunts and uncles. And it so happened my aunt was a very staunch devotee of Swami. And one of the summer holidays, had gone to Whitefields. That was a Vrindavan was there, the ashram was there, I think. So Swami was there visiting during the summers, and it happened. So happened when I saw him. Trust me or not, um, I saw him very close range. The first time I saw him, all I could see was Swami coming near me as a human form of God coming straight in front of you. The power was so much evident. Literally, I was in tears. There's nothing much I could say. There's no word to talk, and it's complete tears. And my eyes was in tears. Continue to. I was in what kind of situation where I don't know what to talk. I had so many thoughts in my mind. They was thoughtless and speechless. That is the instance when you see Bhagwan. It happens, and it happened over and over again and again. Whenever I went to Swami, in many of the occasions, when you see Swami, that feeling of trance, you are in a state of trance. You don't know what you're doing. You're just mesmerized by his physical form, and you know that this is not a normal thing. It's a God in coming on the form of human blood and flesh, and right in standing in front of you. That was really an mind-blowing experience, I could say. There's no words to describe that. I still have that vivid memory of Swami standing right in front of me, and he was walking past, and my words were not coming out. Only tears were coming out. That's all I could say.
And brother, what year was that?
Probably if I'm saying, it would be around 80, 86, 87, or 88, something around that time. Yeah, could be around that time.
So that's a very, very long time. 88, that's 12 and 33 years ago.
Right.
And I know with your many frequent trips through Swami's grace at his divine ashram, you would have had so many wonderful divine experiences. Can you share at least two of your most memorable ones you've had with Mother Sai?
Yes, yes. Um, there are beautiful experiences. Each one is something. Thing of beauty is joy forever, they say. And this experience is what you have. These divine experiences are beyond what science can describe. I, being a scientist myself, I was a pharmaceutical scientist. Did my master's in applied pharmaceutical sciences. Then I went on to do a clinical doctor of pharmacy. So what I feel is where science ends, philosophy begins. And that's where Swami is all about. You can't define the gravity or the power of Mother Sai, which is beyond words. And to start with one of the experiences, the first experience I had was the biggest experience I could say, when I was in I finished my bachelor's and I was about to leave to US. I had taken my GRE exams and I was waiting for getting an interview for the visa. So it happened, I had a visa interview in the fall of 2000. And I was about to leave. The next day I had a plan to leave to Chennai, where the US consulate was there. So prior to that, I was getting all my documents ready, and everything was getting tougher and was very busy time schedule. So I was thinking in my mind, Swami, I really don't know what to do, because I come from a very middle class family. Probably, so it's very hard when you have to show a lot of finances to the US consulate, and you have to prove yourself, and a lot of things were there. So I was praying very dearly to Swami to show me some kind of way, because all I had was my educational credits and my scholarships, which I could get based on my good performance in my GREs. That was the only option for me to get a good visa. So I was telling Swami somehow I should make it this time. Don't believe the night prayer. Swami comes early in the morning, 4 o'clock, right in my dream. At 4 o'clock, I'm leaving the place of Hyderabad in the evening, but in the morning, early morning at 4 o'clock, Swami comes in my dream. He comes, he puts his hand, and I'm just prostrating to his feet. He says, Baga Chaduko. In Telugu, Baga Chaduko means steady well. That's what he says. Steady well. That word he says, steady well, and he presses his hand on my head. I open my head and I look at Swami is gone. In a second, his flash is gone. Trust me, if that is something symbolic, it was more than symbolic. So I get up, I tell my mother, I wake up at 4 o'clock, Swami had come, I said. And my mom says, yeah, that's a very good news. So you are going to get a visa right now. I'm sure you are going to get it. As it happened, when I went to the interview, when I went to the consulate in the evening, I took a train, and next morning we landed up in Chennai. Trust me or not, I go to the consulate, I enter the premises. There are Indian people who are taking the documents. All they asked is my GRE scores, which were very high. And they asked me about my English scores, which were super high. And they check what kind of education I'm going. And I said, I'm going for a pharmaceutical sciences and all that. And then they asked me what kind of place I'm going to. I said, no, Northeast Rhode Island and everything. And then they say, all you need to do is give your passport and take this token, and you will get your passport tomorrow at your home. That's all they say. You can leave. You can just pay the fees and leave. I was like, what happened? Did you give me a visa? They said it's a counter visa. It's called counter visa. You don't even have to go and see an American inside. Swami made it so easy. The one thing Swami says, Abhayasta, and he says, steady well, Baga Chaduko. That word itself was a starting. You don't believe that word was entire thing. Swami told, this is all he said, but it happened. One thing is after other. So he gives me, I go home, I tell my mom, they took my visa. I just got it in a few minutes. I was thinking it could take hours to get my visa. It was few minutes, that's all. So I came out happily. Then I went to Tirupati, which is close by, and played to Balaji and came back. And my visa was stamped on my passport without any hassle. So that was a starting of my life. Then having gone to US, I had more experiences, which was more and more bringing close to Swami. The instance was I was in the US, I had to do my master's. I was working as a student, it was very hard. Then I used to pay my bills and pay my tuition fees and everything. It was quite a hard task. During one of the times, one of my roommates, he was supposed to be, he's also from Hyderabad. He had a photo of Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba, but he said, see, I'm not a devotee of any of this Babas or any Swamijis. My parents had given me, but if you want to take it, you can take this picture of it with you, because since you are a devotee, you could have it. Then I said, no problem. That's my luck that I'm getting. Swami is coming to me. I will take it. And I took that photo of it. And the miracle, then it happened. Then that's when, once Swami came into my life with that photograph in my Rhode Island. And I was telling to Swami right there, I was telling in front of his picture, Swami, you always give vibhuti to everyone. I see everyone you give vibhuti, and what am I done wrong? I shouldn't get any vibhuti. And Swami says, next day, you tell me, I'll tell you this in the evening of one of the days. The next day I get the photo and I see a peripherally small little vibhuti starts forming on the picture. I am so much shocked. This is like pure shock. I cannot believe my eyes. It's happening right in front of me. I said, Swami, are you really doing it? Probably I said this could be a dust. Few days later, and 1 month later, a proper outline forms in the form of Om. It forms in the form of Om, and which brings me to the idea Swami is not only here, but he's hearing me everything. Whatever I'm talking, he's listening to me. Then I said, this is no joke. This is no joke. Swami is there guiding me and watching me so closely that things are happening right in front of me. And I'm thinking, Swami, what are you doing? And you're just making me listen to me, and you're just seeing what I could see, and you are hearing what I could hear. Then I said, Swami is definitely making an impact in my life a long time. Then after that, the most important experience, Sairam, the second most important experience I had, and the most transforming situations in life happened, was the recent time. This is 1 month back. This is in the month of February last month. I had a big event in my life. It's a crisis event, and which brought my faith in Swami to the test of Swami. Swami always tests the best student. He says, I usually test the best student with the best exam, so they can come out in flying colors. So when I had this experience was, my mom had a critical event of brain surgery, which happened in the month of Jan 28. And I was totally broken and heartbroken, and also very in an anxious state. I was like, what would happen to her? This was a very serious situation where she had a hematoma, bleeding situation in the brain, and it was a very serious situation. So I was like, what will happen, and how do I go across this? And because in India, I've been here for the last 22 years, and I've been visiting quite often, but still with this Corona time, and I was not visiting for quite some time for the last 2 years. So it was a very tricky situation where things have changed quite a lot with this Corona around. Then I was praying, Swami, give me some kind of strength so that I can face this situation in the right way. And no wonder I reached on 7th, right? This started happening. On the 7th, I go. My mom is completely bedridden. She's barely able to move. And she needed 2 caretakers to move around the places, which was very pathetic. And one of the caretakers had left. So I had to replace myself as the caretaker, as well as a nurse, as well as feeding her, everything I was doing with everything as a seva bhava. But Swami says, if you can serve your mom with all with the love, then God, the Swami says, I will guard you. I'll take care of you. And the Swami did take care of me. I can tell these words and emphatically. This is my practical experience. My mom was tested COVID positive twice, not once, twice. And I was there in close vicinity, and nothing happened to me. Not even a single COVID came. Nothing, not even a cough or a cold came. Trust me. The first thing happened was on the 7th, right? She came back from the hospital with the surgery done, and she came back. After a week later, she developed a DVT, which is a deep vein thrombosis. And you don't trust me, this was a thing which I could never forget. I had taken right away to the hospital in the evening. And when I had taken her to the hospital in the emergency ward, the doctor who was there treating her, the emergency doctor, she was a Swami's devotee. She was a Swami's devotee. She says, Sairam. I said, from where did you come? She says, I am also Swami's devotee. Probably Swami came in her way. We never know. This is Swami's way of telling, I'm here to take care of you. Don't worry about it. I was so much in it, very literally breaking down. And Swami comes and says, there's a Sai sister standing in front of me who's a doctor. She says, I'm a Swami devotee and we will take care of your mom. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. She gave the assurance. I felt so strongly because I was not having any other relatives or anybody to back me up at that point. My brother was not able to, we were not able to communicate because of his, he was far away. And he was also having a COVID or something at the time. So I couldn't get in touch with him, and I was really shocked. Then I was saying, what Swami, what do I do? There, the lady says, I will take care of you. That's Swami's devotee. Swami comes in different forms. And this lady was there. After 4 days of observation and again in the hospital, she comes back. Absolutely, she's almost getting, she was very nicely, she was able to talk properly and she was doing well. But she was not able to walk again. The same situation continued. So my panic started because I had only 15 days left to come back to US. And my caretaker was, another caretaker was also about to quit due to her school starting or something like that. So I was waiting for what to do. Swami, I'm again put into test. On the 27th, I think I'll go to Swami's place and ask Swami directly with the Samadhi and ask him the question. Probably Swami will hear me better. So I said, let me make a call and take a call. And I go on the 26th and visit my cousins in Bangalore. On the 27th, I take a 4-hour journey from Bangalore to Puttaparthi. I take a cab, do the adventure, go. And I reach Puttaparthi around 4:30 in the evening, around 27th of February.
And brother, this is the 27th of February?
Yes, 27th
Yes.
of February.
Acha.
So 27th, I reach and I finish a beautiful bhajan was going on in the Prasanthi Mandir. And it was so nice. And I was sitting there. I told them that I am a part of the Satya Sai Global Council. And they offered me a nice place to sit close to the Samadhi. And I was seeing Swami. They were very gracious and helping me out. And then after this, the bhajan happened, they allowed us to go and take darshan of the Samadhi. I went near the Samadhi and I told Swami, this is exactly, I'm telling you, this is where the miracle starts. Swami is hearing, people think the Swami is not there. No, Swami is right there. He's watching you, it's right there. So when I go close to the Samadhi and I say, Swami, I pray, take my silent prayer and say, Swami, I did everything whatever I could do with all the sincerity. Please take care of my mother. Make her mobile. She's immobile at this time. She is very much struggling to be walking. You know, she wants to walk and she cannot walk. So give her some kind of strength and that courage to do it. That's all I prayed. I said, Swami, I don't need anything. This is all I need. Trust me. On 27th, I speak at 4:30. Around 6 o'clock, the bhajan was then and Aarti was done. I go and pray to Swami. And around 9 o'clock, I reach the train station. I had to leave. I was left Puttaparthi with a heavy heart, saying, Swami, I'm leaving you because I don't want to leave Puttaparthi. I felt like staying back, but I couldn't. I had my train already booked. So at 9:30, I reach Puttaparthi Satya Sai Prasanthi Nilayam station, rail station. There I go with all my huge baggages. And you don't believe, I had to pull my baggages and go near this platform. And I see there is no porter at all. I was like shocked. Swami, I said, Swami, please give me something, do something. I need something. I can't go from here because my train was in the second platform. I had to go all the way. I couldn't carry it, the stuff. Trust me or not, within a second, somebody says, go and talk to a station master. He will help you. I go, as soon as I take the prayer, Swami connects me with the station master. The station master says, within a second, he takes a call. He calls somebody. He says, the porter will be there in 2 minutes. As I say this prayer and all these things happen within 5 minutes, the porter is right there in front of me. And he picks up all my luggage and takes it to the second platform with no time lag. So this shows Swami takes care of his devotees at every time, every moment. It's small instances makes you feel that Swami is always there. There was no one there in that station. It's a small little station. And you might think, oh, what is this happening? But Swami was following me all throughout. And he was there and he took care of that. Porter came. I was very happy. And then also the The watchman was there. He also wanted to help me. He came running to help me out. So Swami made sure that I had enough help to take care of myself to the train. But the most important situation I faced was I told the prayer that Swami, please help me. That was a question I posed in front of Swami, in front of his samadhi, right? At 6 or 6:30. At 9:30, I land in the platform. There, Swami gives me the answer right there. I'm sitting with my bag. I take my head and look at the top. On the top of the platform, there's a big caption. I have a picture right there. I'll show you. That picture says, Swami says in that picture, if you take care of your mother, the God guards you. That's what he says. If you take care of your mother, God guards you. That means Swami says, I am guarding you. I'm taking care of your mother. You have taken care of your mother, so I will guard you. So don't worry about it. That was a very straightforward answer. And I thought Swami has answered me now. I was having a positive mindset. I'm leaving Puttaparthi. Trust me, I go on 28th morning. I land up. I open the lady, the helper opens the door. She says, I have a good news for you, sir. I said, what? Your mom has started walking by herself with the help of only one caretaker. I'm only just allowing her to walk and she's walking herself. I said, are you serious? I just came back from a journey to Puttaparthi and you're telling me these words. I spoke to Swami the night before and this is happening the next morning. I said, it could be something, I don't know. I said, let me check it out. I asked my mom after giving her some breakfast, I told her, can you walk? She says, yes. And I give her the walker. She's walking like as if she's normal. I was like, are you, this is on the February 7th, she was immobile. 27th, also it was the same case. She had to have two people. And the single caretaker is saying, because since I was not there, there's only one caretaker was there at that point on 27th. She says she's able to walk since yesterday. So what there were no words to describe my predicament at that point. I said, this is beyond words. Swami not only hears, but he cares. He cares about his devotees in a wholesome way. He says, Sai care is a whole care. It's not a small care. It's a complete care. It's like a kit. He keeps an eye on everything. You don't believe, he took care of my wife, my daughter, my dog, everybody were in the US. He took care of them with no problems. And I went to India. I came unscathed. I was not touched by corona at all. No corona, nothing. Nothing touched me. I went to Swami's place. I came back. I came so well that even no one would think that I was in touch with a person who had twice COVID positive, and I was in the hospital day and night, in and out. And this was beyond words. Swami did make a lot of impact. Now she's able to stand properly and she's able to eat properly and walk normally like any other person with a little bit of help from somebody. But still she's doing far better. From 1 month, the transformation has happened. It's only nothing but Swami's grace. This is absolutely Swami's grace. And I can show you with pictures how it happened, transformation happened. This is like, I had no other thinking in my mind. This is all you can say, Sai Ram. Thank you.
Brother, that was absolutely beautiful and inspiring and so touching. The love of Mother Sai coming to your rescue. And then I love what you shared about that sign that you saw, that if you serve the Mother, the Divine Mother will look after you. What a beautiful, comforting statement. And as you know, Swami places tremendous emphasis on devotion to parents, especially the mother. He says you may be able to repay back any debt, but the debt you owe to your mother, you will never be able to repay. He's further said that your mother is the goddess who has given us this body, this blood, this individuality, and as such, she deserves all the veneration and worship that you can shower at her lotus feet. And you served your mother so well to the best of your ability. And here was the Divine Mother in the train station and at every point, looking after you, guiding you, protecting you, and comforting you. That is absolutely touching and beautiful, brother. Swami's grace. And then in the midst of the COVID 19, here you go to India and you come back without even being infected or affected in any way. Such is the grace of Mother Sai. Absolutely wonderful, brother. Thanks so much for sharing. So, what does Sai Baba mean to you today, Dr. Giridhar?
One thing I'll tell you, brother, Sai Sai Baba is not a human form. It's a God coming in the form of human form, just not a human form. It's not a small guru. When somebody says he's one of the gurus, no, he's gurus of guru. He's a Jagat Guru. He's a God who has come in the form of in the human flesh and blood to save. If somebody says, did you see God? Yes, Sai Baba is God. God is Sai Baba. That is all I could reflect. There is no other way I could describe. And somebody says, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Gurudeva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Zirvave Namah. Guru is everything. For me, God has come in the form of Guru to make us understand that when you face the trials and tribulations, how to act and see ourselves as a human being, but also try to see that divinity in that form of the God is coming right in front of you, which was what I see Sai Baba is God. That's just a form of human flesh, and we are very fortunate. We could see Swami. We could see Swami in these times, and remember. And the best form, best thing about Sai Baba's occurrence in this world has got is he has spread the world of love. He showed the way, the path of love, which is very, very important. Love all, serve all, which always keeps my head going straight. That is the only thing which keeps me going as super mantra. It's more than any other mantra. This is the mantra which is followed by everyone. I can tell you with guarantee, I have seen this happening many times, that love all, serve all is a word which is not just a word. It's a very powerful indicator how to make your life go forward in this world when there is a lot of conflicts, a lot of problems. But these words are golden words. It's more than a mantra, I can tell you. I have seen many times. I've tried utilizing this word to see. Swami says, "Love all, serve all." Okay, I have tried it in practical way to see whether these words work, and it does the beautiful work. I'll tell you, there were several. I was a retail pharmacist before I became a neuropsychiatric pharmacist in specialty. So in retails, the customers usually are very angry, irate. If you don't give them the medicine, they really they look at you like as if you are the responsible for not doing the job, and they will really abuse you and they'll talk back bad about you. Trust me, trust me. I used to always think. Let's use Swami's principle of love all, serve all to see if this works. It does work. There was an irate customer who had come in the drive-through. He was yelling at me and he was really very mad at the situation in the pharmacy. And I used to say nothing, and I give them the medicine. I'm sorry, sir. Have a nice day. Kind words. And Swami says, talking kindly and doing things that is also a kind of seva. So I used to do the same thing. First day he was shouting at me. The second day also he did the same. But each time I saw him, I used to talk to him politely and tell him nicely, whatever. But he had his own issues. But the third day around, he turns around, he comes and apologizes. He says, I was mean to you all these days. And now you are being very kind to me. And I was literally in tears. That's when I felt Swami's words did not go wrong. Absolutely. You know, when you are kind to the other person, even when they are unkind, they turn around and say, I am sorry, I have done mistake. I was mean to you, but you were not. I said, this is all because my Swami's teachings. I learned from Swami says, love all, serve all. Irrespective of the person's color, religion, caste, you just love them. Love is truth. That's what Swami says. That is Sai Baba. That is the ultimate truth of the world. It's more than a Gita, more than any other thing. The simple dharma you follow of love is it's a boon for everyone to learn that. That is the only thing Swami teaches. And prema, satya, dharma, shanti, prema. So if you follow this small little ideals, Swami just is around you. He's listening to us. That's what I think. That is about Sai Baba. Sai Ram.
Brother, that was so very beautiful. What a wonderful example of putting into practice that love all, serve all, and the transforming effect it had on the individual. And as you so rightly said, Swami has come to teach us about love. Because the essence of all our spiritual practices, be it japam, seva, meditation, it must culminate in divine love and selfless service to humanity. And here's a beautiful example where somebody was being very unkind to you, and you were just radiating that love of Swami, and you brought about a transformation to the point where he could recognize that what he was doing was not right, was not kind. And Swami, that beautiful example of Swami as well. So many people have come to scoff and criticize and ridicule, and Swami has just radiated and transformed them with his most powerful weapon of divine love. So beautifully is that example that you gave. And brother, you made such an important point. We would have believed in Rama and Krishna and Christ and the Prophet Muhammad based on what was written in the books. But here you are. You can get up with emphatic confidence and belief and said, I met God, I saw God, I experienced God. That's my experience. You saw it with your own eyes, you felt it with your own heart. And that alone is your truth, and nobody can take that away from you. That's the difference with this avatar. And that is why we are so lucky to be walking the very earth that he's walking, to be able to jump on a plane and see him and feel him and touch him and experience this divinity. So you can very confidently say that this is my experience. I saw, I was transformed, I was inspired. I know this is God in human form. What a blessing, brother, you have re emphasized to all of us. So, brother, so many years you've been in contact with Sri Satya Sai Baba. Sai Baba named you when you were 10 days old. How has practicing the teachings of Sai Baba over the years continued to transform and impact your life?
Let me tell you, the best transformation is self-transformation that comes from within. And Swami says one thing, if you want to transform, think that Swami is there in everyone. He says, I'm there with you, around you, inside you, above you, below you, everywhere. So when you see that Swami's principle of telling I'm there everywhere, that itself is a big transformation you are seeing. Because if you're saying something, I'm saying I'm doing something Sairam to anyone, he says, Swami says, you look at other person and say that Swami is there in you and he's there in him, then you will never do anything wrong. You can't be going wrong. There's no thought which can go wrong. The thoughts become more clear because you're seeing Swami right there in front of you. I'm seeing Swami in brother's face. That means Swami is talking to me and I'm talking to Swami. So that divinity is connection is always there because I'm around seeing everyone as Swami only. That is the one thing which is like the divine connect is there all over the place. The best part, the transformation is I was very, very fortunate. I was having this inner urge to serve the community and do something for the people and the poor people. That's always my intent. During all the times, I used to think whenever during the times of my this birthdays or anniversaries or even during this Thanksgiving or anything, I always had a urge to give back to the society and help our hurt neighbor. That's my fundamental principle. If I cannot help, I will. I will not be in a position to do that. I'll keep myself away. But if I can help, I will do with full intensity and do everything whatever I can. I will never let myself down. I will go and full on and help them out. So that transformation was further helped by our Sai Center, Orlando, Sister Devi, Vijay brother, and a lot of all our Dr. Venkat uncle, and a lot of Jason brother, lot of beautiful devotees had inspired and helped me take up the position of a Sai service coordinator in Orlando. This really touched my heart because I was not expecting to be a coordinator, but that helped me connect with more of my devotees, help them out. And during this COVID pandemic, I used to go to their houses, collect the food items, go to the food banks and the homeless shelters, and even this the homes for this young adults where they were left by due to unfortunate circumstances. I used to go each time and serve them with all my happiness, with all the intensity. Swami says, help our hurt never. So that intensity was strong. That transformation is, I started imbibing this principle of helping people as my own. It's like my own family, that kind of transformation got into my head. And now I feel that I am part of the society and we need to help and nourish the people around us, not only just me, myself, and my family is not the one. Entire family, entire people around us who need help was most important, especially in this COVID times. I used to go often to these shelters and help them out. And the best part of the COVID pandemic, which brought up, was we helped in the vaccination efforts as part of the South Pacific Asian vaccination drive, which happened in Orlando. I myself went there to help them. I wanted to go as a medical volunteer. Trust me, this is what Swami teaches you again. Swami taught me one more thing. So I signed up as a medical volunteer. I went there. The guy who was organizing, he was my friend. So he was the president of one of the organizations, and he invited me. I went there. Trust me, when I went to that place, there were already nurses and the paramedics were there in place. They were already helping the people vaccinate. So I go there, I tell them I'm a doctor of pharmacy, I'm a pharmacist, and I could help them. So then they say that we are already having nurses and everybody is there, so you might have to do some other kind of help. I said, whatever help you could give me, I'll be taking with all sincerity and performing it with happiness. And Swami wanted me to teach me that any work, no matter what kind of work, it's a small or big, it's all about Swami. It's always dedicated to Swami's work. It's Swami's work. At the end of the day, you dedicate it to Swami, it becomes his work. So they asked me to go and do a traffic volunteering. I had to take a boat at the corner of the road, street sections. I had to direct people towards the vaccination site. I was standing with my medical scrubs, but I had gone and I was showing them the directions. And it was very helpful. A lot of people came, they thanked me. It was in the 4 hours or 5 hours, I stood in the sun, showing them the signs. And it was so much satisfying. When I came back, I learned one thing. Swami says, he says clearly, it is not about the kind of work you do. People will not judge you by the kind of work you do, but it is up by the spirit by which you do the work. It is by the spirit. No work is small or big, because before I went into that, I had this big ego telling me I'm a doctor of pharmacy, I'm a this. have to do this medical work only. I was thinking in my mind, but Swami had a way to teach me that, you got to learn. This transformation is there. That transformation I achieved there was humongous. He made me stand in the sun, go through the grind of showing the science to the people, and which is a normal person would say, no, I'm not going to do this small job. But Swami made me do that and realize after I come back, I'm a changed man. I say that work transformed me, says that, no work is small or big. Every work is same. And Swami is teaching that lesson. That's a big transformation in myself where I see, oh, I did this work. And also when that helped me to become more subtle and subtle, you become subtle as you humble more and humble. When I went home to India, I was changing my mother's diapers. I was cleaning her. I was bathing her. I was doing everything. The helper lady, she was not ready to clean that, do things which I was doing. And she said, how, sir, you are a doctor and you are just doing everything which is so difficult. I was putting my gloves on. I was ready to do everything. That is because Swami says, you love your mother or you love anything, you do with sincerity, the work becomes divine. Swami clearly says, every work is worship. Swami says, help over, hurt never. So that is the transformation I got. The practical lessons, when you love things and do with sincerity, that itself is a divinity. Offer it to Bhagwan's lotus feet. The answers, I don't need to wait for the results. Results automatically come out successful. So that's the transformation I see. Thank you, Sairam.
Brother, your sharing was truly inspiring and thought-provoking. And look at the level of service you did to your mother. It keeps reverberating in my heart and in my mind when you speak about that devotion you have to your mother. And Swami has said your first guru, your first God is really your mother. And the kind and level of service that you did with so much of love and unreserved. It's really, really a wonderful example for all of us to imbibe and to follow. And then, even in volunteering, to give the vaccinations against all the risk that was involved in being contaminated and also the possibility of getting COVID-19. You went beyond all of that call of duty to serve Swami with love, and Swami protected you in all of it. So, what a very, very beautiful example of selfless service. So, brother, how, and I know you've shared a little bit of it, but as a pharmaceutical scientist, a clinical doctor of pharmacy from Virginia, how have you been able to use your profession, your practice, to render selfless service to Swami?
Let me tell you, there were times, this is a kind of thing. I always um, use my education to the best practice. Um, be it anytime, any of my devotees call me anytime they had any questions or medical related questions, any time of the day or night, I am ready to answer. I have been doing that for a long time, not only with my devotees, wherever there is requirement. I'll tell you the example in case of my when I had gone to India, helping my mother. I had gone and spoken to all the doctors and all my the neurosurgeon everywhere. Wherever I go, I speak to them. They say, they tell me in openness. Even though I'm a pharmacist, they say we enjoy talking with you, sir. That neurosurgeon, he was telling me, really, we enjoyed talking with you. All these days, we're waiting for you probably, and you come here and we feel very happy. And I said, why is this? And I am just a medical. I was trying to talk to them regarding the medical the drug interactions, what could be the possible side effects. We could switch on some drugs and help my mother in getting better. There was one of the medicines which was a very big drug, or it's a blood thinner, which needs a constant monitoring. So that was one thing I made an impact by changing the drug from that to a different class of drug, which does not need monitoring. And it was a phenomenal thing. My mom could eat anything, whatever she wants. There's no drug interactions of any kind. And everything was so effective. My education came into that perspective. When I looked at that, I said, Swami did make me an instrument to help my mother in the terms of changing her drugs to help her to recover quicker. Because had I not been a scientist or a clinical doctor of pharmacy, the impact I would have made to my mother's health, the quality of health improvement would have been minimal. But this is humongous. Within 1 month, I could bring her back to normalcy. We could change the drugs, and we could talk about, and also the quality of the health improved phenomenally. The reason is, when you talk also, we get angry many times. We are humans. But at the same time, I used to tell my mom, whenever you have anything, please say Sai Ram. Only Sai Ram. That's all. Even when she was going to the surgery, I was telling her, please say Sai Ram. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. That's what I was telling her. When she said Sai Ram, the surgery happened so beautifully. The doctor comes out and says, it happened, no issues, nothing. But what I'm saying is, the education what Swami had given was a reason for it. There's a reason why Swami says, gives you certain things to do in life. He says Samayam and Sandarbham, that he says there's a timing and there's a reasoning why you are doing that particular thing. If I was a pharmacist and if I was a scientist, I educated myself. There was a reason. Probably Swami wanted me to go and allot my time to my mother, bring her back to normal, talk to the surgeons, and get my medical knowledge to them, so that they could interact with me in a better way to bring her back to normal quickly, which has happened within a month time. There was not much time left for me, but 1 month was a miracle happened. It's because of the quality of education Bhagwan has bestowed on me, and the blessings. Swami was there to see that. He said, remember I told you when I started my education, Swami said, Bhaga Chaduko, means study well, he said. So what does it mean? Swami is telling me, I never thought I will do a doctorate. So Swami brought me to this level. There was so much reason. I have spoken to many of my friends and devotees. They talk to me and I advise them. I have given them several medical advices. So Swami wanted me to make me an instrument to help a particular part of the society and be a contributor to the Help Ever, Hurt Never campaign, which Swami had started. So he wanted me to become one of the instrument. And I continue to follow that, and I'll try to imbibe more on this path of helping people. That's what I think my education has helped. Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother, for sharing that perspective. And brother, you've been to Prasanthi Nilayam many times. Over that period of time, your latest visit was visiting the Samadhi and praying to Bhagwan and getting his the comfort and the love of a divine mother who has the love of a thousand mothers. So share with us, what does Prasanthi Nilayam mean to you today, the physical Prasanthi? How do you see, how do you view Prasanthi when you go, the impact it has had? Share a little bit about that experience of being in Prasanthi Nilayam where the avatar walked for 85 years.
Brother Sairam, thank you very much for asking this beautiful question. I was about to tell you, as I entered, don't believe, the impact is very much there. Why? I tell you. I was sitting near the place where Swami used to walk across that corridors. He used to walk across and give his darshans. Trust me, I went and put my head there and bowed and took a namaskar there. I felt that divinity is still there. There's no doubt in you go in that surroundings. That word Prasanthi means peace. All your problems are gone down the drain. And that impact is there forever, I feel, because the magnetic personality, what Swami had, and he had shown his love towards everyone. Till now, I'm telling you, even when after having gone, after Swami left his mortal body, remains, still when I go there, trust me, I sit in that samadhi in place, my tears start running automatically. There's no limit for my tears. I don't know what is that. The tears which brings comes from inside, that is love. That is pure love towards Swami. It's called that inner earning, you see that inside coming out. That is pure love. The Swami was a pure form of love, right? That samadhi itself tells you that when you go near that, you feel that power, and your eyes started producing tears for no reason. How people will think, why is he crying? But that is the power, that is the power of Bhagwan, a form of love, human form of love, which is there also, now also is there. Probably I would say, I was telling somebody, after his passing away, the samadhi is producing more powerful vibrations compared to nothing you think. People are not knowing that. People think, oh, probably Swami is not there. But when I go and ask the vendors around that area, trust me, they're all telling, Corona is not, nothing happened here in Prasanthi Nilayam. That's what they're saying. No one got Corona, sir. There are people from Kashmir who are selling their garments and other things. I just went and asked them a few questions. What do you think? Was there a Corona? Says, no Corona, sir. Just that we were having no business. But Swami's grace, we are all picking up now. Everything is moving normally. We are able to get business, and the hotel was fully booked. Trust me, it was fully booked. I had taken an executive room, but everything was coming alive. They say it's all Swami's grace. What else I could think about? When Swami is not there, you think Swami is not there? That is our ignorance. If you think it is, why will I go all the way spending 4,000 rupees in the morning from 9 o'clock? I take a journey to Puttaparthi, 4,000 rupees I spend. And then I go to the hotel, for 2 hours, I pay about 3,000 rupees. And back for 2 hours, I stay in Swami's place. And again, you go back to the train in the evening, just 9:30, spending another 4,000 rupees for my train. I spent about 20,000 rupees in that one day, just to be with Swami's samadhi. Do you think Swami's samadhi is just a samadhi? It's not. It's a vibration of love. It is a symbolism of the most important feature of our entire lives people can imagine. That's why it's something to believe. We have to go there to see what it is Swami is there. You have to see it to understand why a person is spending 20,000 rupees for a one day. Somebody might think he's a crazy guy. No, I'm a very educated guy and I know what I'm doing, but I know I put my money in the right place. I put it for Swami, and I know that I don't have to worry about anything. It's in Swami's place. It goes to Swami. And when I come back, when I was trying to come back on the train journey, the porter came. He said he was out of work. I told Swami, probably I have to give. Swami says, help ever, hurt never. He said, how much you are going to expect? He said, give me 200 rupees, sir. I said, you take 500 rupees. You take 500 because you have a family. You don't have a pension. You don't have a 401k. You don't have anything. And this is the only way I can say thank you to Swami, because I couldn't offer money there in the ashram because everything was closed. So my only way I could say thank you to Swami is helping some poor people in that area and giving them some money and say, Swami, Sairam, I am helping this peer person so that I am helping you. Help ever, hurt never. That philosophy, I transformed myself and gave it to that person and offered it to Bhagwan and said, thank you, Bhagwan. And I left. So the Prashanti's phenomena is absolutely and not a phenomena. It's an extraordinary thing. Anybody has to go and visit. They have to feel that, and they will feel it. Even if a person like a rock, he has no thinking, he will go and say, there is some magic right there. The magic is there. I showed you what are the things happened right there. So, Sairam, thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. And I can well imagine the feeling that you would have received and felt in Prasanthi Nilayam, where the avatar worked for so many years, and so many devotees continue to say that when you walk into Prasanthi Nilayam, it's like walking into a different dimension, a dimension of love and peace and tranquility, where that potent, powerful force of divinity is felt. So, thank you very much for sharing. So, brother, another question we normally ask our guests is that based on your particular experience of being a pharmaceutical scientist, a clinical doctor of pharmacy, you have used your profession and also outside of your profession to serve Swami with so much love and sincerity and devotion. What guidance and advice can you give to others who would want to make the world just a little bit more loving, a little bit more kind, a little bit more value based? What advice would you give to others with that intention and purpose?
Uh, Let me start off this only as I'm not able to advise, but I could say definitely a suggestion to all the people. Please, please, just think Swami is there everywhere with you or everywhere around you. That sense of thinking will bring uh, all your things will start flowing in the right direction. That means you will see Swami right there in front of eyes. You will say, love all, serve all. You'll say, Sai Ram. You'll say, anything you do, you'll say, Sai Ram. That means that work, what you do will become very divine. You'll do with all sincerity. So I would advise everyone, just say, do your work thinking that Swami is right there in front of you, and say that love all, serve all is the principle which is the most essential thing on this earth, which is the biggest mantra. If everyone can follow that word, I'm telling you, trust me, sir, no differences, no conflicts. All these conflicts are happening because they don't know this value of this biggest mantra, love all, serve all. If you can follow, everybody follows, all the nations follow, whatever the conflicts happening at this point of time will resolve like a snow melting away. It'll all peace would process would go very quicker than required. So I would say, whenever you treat somebody, treat that human being is also a form of Swami. Then our respect towards each human being becomes more sanctified, and we think that Swami is there in that human being. Then we would never harm anyone, or never think of any harm, or any kind of negative impact will not happen. So I would say, always think that Swami is there watching you. So better be aware that Swami is watching you, and with that feeling, have that courage to say, love all, serve all, and help ever, hurt never, always in your top of your mind. Probably in this world, society will never go anymore. This is the highest form of worship anybody can do. If you are able to think that you are, if something can happen to you, and if it happens to some other person, will it be good for them or bad for them? That judgment call will be clear. You want other person to have a good thing. So living in this society, if you can transform 10 people and help them be happy, then you have lived a life of Bhagwan's devotee. And if you are not able to transform or help 10 people around you, then we are not impacting or learning Swami's words into practice. So I would say we should be impactful and transformational as much as possible, even a little bit. Swami says, even if you're not able to help, you can talk kindly and be empathetic towards the other person's feeling. That itself is seva. That's what Swami says. Be kind, be empathetic. Do not be harsh. That's very true, Swami says. And I have learned that. And let's be kind, be empathetic, and love all, serve all. Sai Ram.
Brother, thank you very much for that advice. Very practical and divine advice for all of us to follow. You know, Swami, in one of his divine messages, he says the main reason why he has taken birth is to awaken the inherent divinity in each and every one of us, to show us the way back to our birthright, which is God. He addresses us as embodiments of the divine Atma, embodiments of divine love. And in one of his birthday discourses, Swami says that we should affirm, I am God. I am not different from God. I am Satchit Ananda. Fear, grief, and anxiety can never affect me. Can you share a little bit? What does that statement mean for you? And how do you practice that in your daily life? I am God. I am not different from God. Swami has come to teach us that we are divine, that we are potential avatars.
Let me tell you, this was a very apt question you asked me. This happened during my mom was in the hospital. She came out, okay, and she was a little bit psychotic, and she was, because of the claustrophobic. They put in a COVID ward, and they put her in a COVID ward which is secluded from other places. So they get really that kind of psychosis comes in. They say, oh, they're scared of these doctors and everything. And my mom was telling these doctors and nurses are all troubling me, and they're not they're not doing the right thing. They were poking intravenous syringes and other things. And I said, mother, please think like this. They are no other persons, they are gods. They are gods in the form of humans. Swami has come in them as nurses and doctors to help you recover. But for them, we wouldn't have been seeing you this day with this kind of recovery. So I was telling that God is there. So Swami is there in human form in every person. That's what we say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am God. But when you realize that when your God is there in you, that means when you think God is there in other person too. It's not only you, he's there everywhere. So that's what I was telling. If you can see the God in everyone and see Swami is there in everyone, that is the ultimate realization that you have served the society, that thinking that you will not get affected by anything. When you say you are God, or Swami says, I am there in you, will you, if you have a heart, if you think, suppose if you have a house, right? For example, if I'm having a beautiful house, do you think you will invite a guest in a dirty house, or will you invite a house in a nice house? So you will definitely invite a guest into a nice, neat, clean house. So when you are taking care of your house to invite a guest, how you clean up your house and everything. Similarly, when you think Swami is there in your heart, how pure and clean you should be when you have to invite Swami to stay in your heart. That means you are saying I am God. So Swami has to be in my heart. So your heart should be pure, clear. It will be crystal clear. Then Swami will love to be with you. Always there. He's always there because your mind is clean. Your heart is clean. Your house is clean. Then Swami is there with you. That is what is God in you. So if I keep my heart clean and nice, neat, Swami is right there. That's why Hanuman opens his heart. He sees Rama and everybody is seen. Why? Because his heart is pure. That's why Rama was sitting there. And if you open our hearts, Swami says, I'm here. I am there to take care of you. Why are you waiting for things? So Swami says, all you have to say is, talk to me, say Sai Ram. That's all he says. All I need is Sai Ram. He doesn't need anything. He doesn't need big pujas. He doesn't need all this japas. All is Sai Ram. That's why we have a beautiful way of talking with each other, saying Sai Ram. That means we are imbibing the Sai Ram in us. The God is there in us. So when we say Sai Ram, the Swami is there. He's listening to you. He's seeing all this and happening. He's trying to say, I am there and everyone. So think that I'm a God in everywhere. So I'm God, you are God, and God himself are the same. It's Advaita, that was called Advaita in Hindu philosophy, means no two things. It is only one. There's only one. That is, God is there in you. That's what it's all about. Sairam.
So, Dr. Sai Giridhar Sai, the Sri Satya Sai Global Council Trinidad and Tobago expresses gratitude and appreciation to you for taking the time to share your personal journey and transformation at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Mother Sai. We have been inspired, we have been moved and to tears, and we have been totally transformed by your transformation. It was absolutely beautiful and honorable and sincere from your heart. And I really love the devotion to your parents, especially your mother. So thank you very much for sharing, and I know that we will all be inspired by your divine sharing. May Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba continue to bless you and your family, and may you all continue to be loving divine instruments in his divine mission. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.